Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch spoiler discussion of Watchmen, the HBO series that just concluded this last week. I'm Ashley Hobley. Join me is Dylan Blight. If you've been listening to What Do You Want to Watch, you'll know that we're in love with Watchmen. If you've been following Dylan's Twitter feed, you'll know that he's in love with Watchmen. We'll start from the beginning. Dylan, what's your history with the Watchmen franchise?
I watched the Zack Snyder movie and I really liked it, and then I read the comic book and I really liked the comic book. I would say that I appreciate the comic book and I like it. I wouldn't say I'm like one of those people it's the greatest comic of all time. Like, I think it's a great comic that would definitely be in like my top 50, but it wouldn't be in my top 10. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I fall. And I really like the Zack Snyder movie. I know some people either hate it or love it. I really, really like it. I think it's good. So that's my Watchmen.
Yeah. Oh, my history
I was about to say, I have read all the before Watchmen, and I'm also reading Doomsday Clock. So I don't know how relevant that is, but yeah.
It could be very relevant. But I'm the opposite. I read the comic book first. I think I was just getting into comics, and I feel like once you get into comics, everybody says you need to read Watchmen. It's like one of the pillars of the industry.
I thought that was a Dark Knight. You got into comics, better read Dark Knight.
Yeah, Dark Knight, Watchmen, and I feel like those are just the two.
I feel like that's the two. Yeah.
Action Comics one, I know. Yeah. But yeah, read that. Obviously really good. And then watched the movie, which was I also enjoyed. I think it was as good as it could possibly have been done. The most faithful it could have been done until we get here. And in my mind, I would love Lindelof to do a version of Watchmen for TV. But
maybe that's what he'll do.
Maybe that's what season 2 is, just a flashback to.
Yeah, maybe.
But how about we talk about this season of the show. What are your overall thoughts, other than that it's the best show this year, the best new TV show of this year? Plug for this year's the Exposure Network's best of 2019.
Easily the best show of 2019. Stand out in every form. You know, the acting is amazing, the storytelling is amazing. How they managed to fit so much character and with so much range of character and also stories and tackle them different elements into 9 episodes is kind of crazy when you look back on it. Like, I'm so in awe of the show as a complete package that it's like one of those perfect things where as soon as it finished, I'm like, okay, I wish I wanted to start it again, like straight away. I just like watch one episode a night kind of thing. Like that's how much I enjoyed it. And especially it's one of those shows where like when I finished it, I was like, okay, so like I can watch it from the start and I'll understand and you'll see things being set up and, you know, these sorts of things. So I definitely feel like I'm going to enjoy it the second watch. I think I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray though, simply because I can buy a 4K, hopefully box set, you know, DVD or whatever, and not watch like the Foxtel kind of HD stream where it's sometimes HD and sometimes 720. But no, I don't want to float too out there and be like, you know, because it just finished this week, but honestly feel like it's probably top 10 seasons of anything for me ever. Like there's not easily one of my favorite TV shows at the moment because I just think it's nearly perfect. Like I loved it from the moment it started. I know some people took a couple episodes or whatever, and some people actually didn't like the last few episodes, but I was like on board from here to the end, and I just think it's just perfect or near perfect as you can get. 9 episodes of amazing storytelling that I adore to the point that it's actually improved my love and interest of wanting to go back and reread the original comic, rewatch the Snyder movie just because I like being in this universe now. Like, it made me appreciate more things from the original material, I think. I think that's the biggest success of this, in that it not only manages to continue the story, but like improve upon what came before it somehow, which is kind of magical to do. Yeah. Lindelof is like, I bow down.
Yeah. I was one of those people who were like slow starting. I feel like the first couple episodes I was just going, yeah, this is pretty good, but it's not like excellent. I think it was like the 3rd episode that introduced Laurie Blake, played by Jean Smart, that like blew it out of the water. It's like phenomenal ever since. I feel like it's incredible that the storytelling, the fact that they can focus an entire episode on certain characters but still feel like the story is progressing.
Moving forward, yeah.
Moving forward, yeah. And then for it all to tie up so perfectly and sort of tie up ends from the original series as well is super satisfying and that kind of thing. Because you've read the before Watchmen, I want to ask, obviously a big change was revealed about the Hood, who was original Minutemen, as a black man.
Hooded Justice.
That was a freaking cool reveal.
It's smart.
It's smart, but that doesn't tie into the canon that they did with the before Watchmen stuff at all. No. Okay.
No, not at all. But this way makes much more sense. Like, and the way that episode is just fantastic. The way they tie everything into, and it's like, of course, a black superhero would be the one that has to cover his face and everything like that to be able to be out there and help people. It's just like makes so much sense. It's like, what if Superman was black? Would people be okay with it? And the answer is probably no. I mean, so yeah, it tackles a lot of interesting points and stuff. But no, I don't think it ties into they couldn't really tie that into before Watchmen didn't tease anything like that. But you can, from what I remember, like obviously I said I want to reread it hopefully soon, but you could just very much, I feel, reread original Watchmen and be like, this works. Like, it's fine.
How do you feel about the show standing alone by itself? Do you think it needs to be, you need to have read the comic to have watched it? I think we're probably not the best people to ask because we've obviously read the comic and have an understanding. Even people who have just watched the movie, I think would still, certain elements would be a bit of a struggle. Obviously, the big difference between the movie and the book is at the end, they use Dr. Manhattan as the big threat in New York City, whereas in the comic book, it's a giant squid that Ozymandias has been building. I guess in Antarctica? I don't know.
I mean, both ends with squids.
Was it ever revealed in the comics where he built it?
Yeah, he built it with the help of... Yeah, it was in Antarctica with the help of the person who wrote Black Freighter or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they both end with squids raining down. Like, that's the time. But I don't think it works. I think it does and it doesn't. Like, it because the question is, like, does it work as a standalone? And it's like, does it work as a standalone Watchmen thing? Yes. Like, but does it work as like standalone TV if you've never even heard of Watchmen, watched the movie, read the comic book? I would say kinda. Like, I feel like you could watch it and sort of, you could definitely understand like the core concept and process, because it's like, even if you have no concept of Dr. Manhattan, it's like, Superman, superheroes, like he's a powerful being. Like, you could wrap your hand around all that sort of stuff, but it's like so much of the nuance to stuff that's happening, especially all the stuff with Adrian, is going to be like missed. I feel like I feel like there's so much more to that stuff with him when you understand he's purposely kind of putting himself through this, especially when it's just revealed like the game master was told to do everything he's doing. Like, because to me, I don't know if this is up for debate, like, but I definitely took like the court scene and stuff, like he's sort of punishing himself, I guess, putting himself on trial is how I took that as for what he's done. And that's kind of him dealing with that in that way. Because the other thing I've seen is a lot of people say that Adrian stuff is useless because it has nothing to do with the actual main plot. But I'm like, it has a lot to do, in my mind, to do with the original comic book, like, and him processing that stuff. And you could argue that it doesn't, because at the end he's like, I was just doing something to kill time. Fuck you, I'm off. Bye. But I still feel like it does. And it's like without all of that, knowing it from the comic, like, I don't know if you would get that, but it's like all the stuff with Sister Night at the start. I feel like the first episode is really easy to get into because it's not until like episode 3 that they start adding in stuff from the comic. But it's like the show starts, it's like there are people, they're killed, they come after cops, we now wear hoods, that's where police officers, we hide our identities. Like the first 2 episodes are very like easy to get into, I feel, without too much tie-in. So I would say yes and no, but I definitely feel like you're going to miss the majority of the nuance to the series without at least watching the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I don't feel like there's just too many, especially, again, when episode 3 on, it just, you would be missing context.
Mm-hmm.
With the Adrian thing, I just think he got bored of, like, he thought he wanted happipiness and perfection, and he's just like, no, that's not what you want. you just want to create chaos and be in control of everything, I guess.
Well, that comes back to the whole question. The first one, it's like he wants this utopia where he thinks he's going to save the human race and everyone will get along and everything will be great. But it's like in a world where everything is great and everyone gets along, would he actually just sit still and be okay with it? And the answer is probably no. And that's kind of like ties into his daughter, of course, revealed to be
Lady True.
Lady True, yeah. It's like, and she wasn't going to do.
Friggin' hell.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't have done the same thing. She's like, oh, I'm going to save the world and all this sort of stuff, but she's a narcissist, and so is he. So,
yep. Is this the best comic book series ever?
Yes.
I don't know if there's much competition really.
I don't feel like there is either.
Sure, I love the CW shows. You're a big fan of Smallville, but nothing comic book related has quite been to this caliber yet.
Doesn't hold a candle.
Nothing I can think of. There might be some graphic novels that have adapted, but I don't.
And I also feel like it's better than most movies. Like if I was even to put this against all the movie adaptations, I'm like, what's this even stand close to? Like Dark Knight, like it's up there. Like this TV show's up there of the caliber of like Dark Knight and stuff. This is better than any of the Marvel stuff. I'm sorry. Like it's got so much more substance to it than the Marvel stuff does. So unquestionable, you know?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode?
Well, that's hard, isn't it? I really thought about it.
To me, I feel like episode 8, the one where the talk over the dinner between Angela and John, is like one of the most fascinating episodes of the season.
Yeah, I was trying to think which ones
it just fills in a lot of holes, I guess. That kind of thing. But
yeah, I like thinking back of because in most recent, oh no, it's hard to pick. That one's top 3, so I don't know. We can safely lock in because I know I gave that one like a 10 on Trakt, and some others I've only gave 9, or like, but in my mind they're like 9.5s kind of thing, I guess. But that one is great because that episode works so well because the reason I love, and this is why the series is so good. Dr. Manhattan is not a character I cared for from the comic book.
Yeah,
you know, I had no attachment to him and any of his romantic relationships or his whole life or anything. I was just like, God, whatever, I don't care. Not that he's a boring character, but he's just interesting on a different level. This show humanizes him and made me care about him to the point when that episode ended, like, and the way it ended, I was just like, single tear. You know? I was like, I care about Dr. Manhattan and his fucking love life. Like, wow. I did not expect that. So yeah, that episode's fantastic. And once again, how the fuck does it cover all of that in an hour? That's why the show's writing is so good. In an hour, it made me care about Dr. Manhattan, covering his entire love life, intertwined at different timelines and all these sorts of things, and then has the big moment at the end, of course. So, nuts.
Crazy. All right, so let's end on a couple of questions about where we are at the end of the season. Obviously, we get Angela at the end of the season. She finds that egg that is miraculously whole after smashing it very violently on the ground. Is Angela Abar becoming the next Blue God? Is she becoming the new Dr. Manhattan?
Yes. And I think I've seen a lot of people on the internet since release point out something that I think makes perfect sense, which is that the poster for the show, if you go back and look at the poster they dropped before the show even came out, is her standing there against like a clock, and she has this giant blue glow around her, and everyone was assuming it was like Dr. Manhattan looking at her, but now everyone's like, maybe the whole time it was teasing that she was actually going to become Dr. Manhattan, and we just saw it. It was right under our
why can't it be both?
I mean, it could be both, but I think it is. I think, but also I didn't think this was a twist. I saw this coming from the moment they brought up that in the episode before. Like, it felt a little bit heavy-handed with, that was the one, like, it didn't ruin the episode. It's still 10 out of 10 episode, but that was the one moment where I'm like, okay. Like, they spent like 2 minutes on like, could you give your powers to someone? Yeah, you know, like if I do this, put it in an egg. Like, they spent like long enough on it that the audience was supposed to click onto it and explain it all and these sorts of things. So, I
feel like because of the previous episode they were talking about killing Dr. Manhattan to steal his powers, I feel like that was enough of a red herring or whatever. I don't know, a distraction for you to
maybe
skip over that. Maybe for me.
Yeah, I was straight away like, cool. Okay, I see where this is going. Someone's going to eat an egg next episode. I didn't know who it was going to be, but straight away I was like, oh, someone's eating an egg. So yeah, I'd say it's her. I'd definitely say it's her. I mean, the egg was smashed. They talked about eggs.
I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and watch the scene, see if the egg was whole when she smashed it.
I know. I think it makes sense because like she didn't want the powers. She didn't ask for them. She didn't want them. She doesn't want them she's like a very kind of neutral character. Like I feel like she's not so much pretending to be like all good and she'll have the powers and save everyone. She's also not all evil. She's like a normal person that has, treads into both like bad and good waters here and there when necessary, of course. She's someone who fucking tortured the frick out of someone, one of those Rorschach soldiers at like the first episode. So, she has a dark side, but I think she's like the perfect person to become the next superpowered being, I guess. Because I feel like I could trust her with those powers.
Yeah. I think she did get them. I don't know. Obviously, it leaves on an ambiguous note. It's like the freaking end of Inception. You can believe it whichever way you want to believe it. I think her foot goes a little bit further down in the water than maybe people would think it would go down. So maybe she didn't get them straight away. Like maybe her foot goes straight through the water and it's like, oh no. And then 5 days later, she's blue. Does she turn blue or does she just stay normal? Does she just get the powers? Who knows?
I think she just gets the powers. I don't know though, but I mean.
Yeah. Do you think the trial of the century of Adrian Veidt would make good television?
Yes.
Is that what you want a season 2 to potentially be?
It's like I don't really want a season 2 because I feel like that's not what it would only be. But like as a sort of like as a premise for something, it's not that I need to watch it. It's just that I think it would be very entertaining. Like the most interesting tease in the final episode isn't if she gets powers to me. I'm happy with that being completely up for us to debate about and decide and where you hear. I don't really care. I don't need to know that because where's it go from there? What's the story? She gets powers, she saves people, whatever. I don't, like there's not automatically an interesting idea there for me. It's just a question. Whereas the trial thing I think would be super interesting because then it dives into like the cover up. They would have to impeach the president, which obviously would be quite interesting.
Listen, if Robert Redford didn't come back for this.
Robert Redford comes in and gets impeached as the president, yeah.
I mean, I know he said he's retired from acting, but...
Quote, unquote. Yeah, so I think that would be great. Adrian Veidt up there getting hammered and lawyered up and whatever else, and then Nixon... not Nixon, fucking... Yeah, I mean, they could bring Nixon back, sure, do what you want to do. Redford coming in and, getting impeached and all these sorts of things. It'll obviously be a political courtroom drama thing, and maybe not everyone... would want that from Watchmen, but I'm like, I don't know. It's not Watchmen season 2 to me. It's more of like a spin-off American horror story, American crime story, but Watchmen crime story, the trial of Adrian Veidt. I'd watch it. I think it would be great. Spin-off comic book. I don't care. It'd be fascinating.
Yeah. You could bring back Night Owl because we never saw him this season.
Well, he's in prison, so.
Yeah. Is he? I didn't catch that.
The FBI... They confirmed it because after every episode on the website, they'd release these they basically did for this show what they did in the comic. Because how in the comic, it's like, here's the main story. And then in between that, you're getting Black Freighter and like Doctor Notes and lots of random like shit to help fill in the world. So between every episode of Watchmen on the website, they would basically release that section of stuff. So, and all
that
of it
explains
was
where the Lube Man thing came from.
Yeah, all of it was being written by him. So Petey's writing all this stuff in character on the website, quote, like explaining stuff and whatever else. But the hint they gave to Night Owl in this was when one of the FBI agents visits her before she leaves to go do the case in episode 3, and he says some comment about, like if you do this, we might be able to release a locked up owl, or like he says something about locked up owls or something like that, and it's like, there we go. And then it was confirmed on
that explains why she had the owl.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You need to do some reading as well.
Yes.
But yes, I think a trial would be an interesting, riveting thing. I really enjoyed Jeremy Irons in this role. I think he looks like if he was having as much fun as everybody else.
He killed it. I mean, everyone's great in this show, but
yeah,
Adrian Veidt, like he had like the lip thing and everything, like just like the whole pompous ass thing of Adrian down perfectly. Yeah.
But yeah. So do you think we need another season?
No. Do we need another season? No. Do I want another season? Like, because I like this so much, my brains wants to say yes, but at the same time, I'm like, why? Like, what? The only way I want another season is if there's actually story to be told there, and they find it not because of money reasons. And I don't trust them not to do it for non-money reasons. I wouldn't be surprised if HBO does it without Lindelof, and that would scare me. The only way I start getting excited for a second season is if Lindelof is in, because he said in so many interviews that he doesn't care to do it. So that if he comes out in like 2 years from now or something, is like, you know what? I had an idea. I was sitting on the toilet. I had an idea for a great season.
Well, somebody else has an idea and is run it by me and is like, I approve.
I guess if he's on board and like helping produce it or something, then maybe, yeah. But I also wouldn't mind if they like completely new characters for the most part and like focus on something else, I guess. You know, like as much as I enjoy this cast, I'm like, there's only so much you can do. And focusing on one of the main characters thing is like, if she turns blue, then there's not much story there for me that I'm interested in, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't want one, but I do.
Yeah. Last thing I want to point on, do you have a favorite track from the soundtrack?
Yeah.
Because you've been listening nonstop to the Watchmen soundtrack. Say it again. Great soundtrack. Great music use. Especially this last episode, the closing song.
It's this one. None with a motherfucking gun. It was like one of the first. It was in the first couple episodes. It's like for Angela, like when she's like fucking going around kicking ass and shit.
Yeah,
great soundtrack, but that one just like gets me pumped.
Yeah. All right, that's everything. Do you have any last thoughts on Watchmen? Anything else that you desperately need to get off your chest?
If you hate this show, I don't know what's wrong with you, and I can't wait to rewatch it. And it's amazing. There you go. I don't know. It's just amazing. Right. Best show of the year.
It is the surprise of the year that it turned out so well, because it could have easily been mediocre or terrible.
I expected it to be mediocre, but I got proved wrong.
Unfaithful. I think the thing that you said that probably sticks, if Alan Moore would be not unstubborn and watch this, I think he'd like it.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about it for 20 minutes and it's like, and we've mostly focused on stuff that was from the end of the season, which is solely for time reasons, because I could talk about this show for hours because there's so many different elements and stuff. But it's like a lot of stuff they introduced in the first few episodes, of course, to do with racism in America and these sorts of things. And the show does still have that at the end, but it just doesn't like.
I mean, it's pretty heavy-handed. I mean,
it's
the white supremacists get theirs.
Yeah, they get theirs. So it's like the nuance with that in the last couple of episodes isn't as interesting as when they're tackling it from the hood of justice point of view and these sorts of things. But I'm like, I find it hard to believe that Alan Moore wouldn't be like what they did with like the fact that Rorschach's, of course they turned into white supremacists. Rorschach was like, he wasn't a white supremacist, but like in a world where people view that character and like his type of character, of course people would love him and fucking turn into white. Like they do so many smart, interesting things with this, and I'm just like, I feel like Alan Moore would like this if he fucking watched it, but he won't.
No. All right. That's the end of this episode of this Spoilers discussion of Watchmen. You can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, SHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow Dylan on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL, something like that.
Got it.
I never spell it out. You can follow the Explosion Network, which is a part of at Explosion Pod, and you can find all episodes of What Do You Want to Watch at explosionnetwork.com. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Watch Watchmen again.
What are you two talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
Tick tock.